The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Wrestling with Johners Live. And this is a bit of an important episode because it's episode 299. So the last episode before we hit that milestone of episode 300. And just a little bit of a peek behind the curtain here at Wrestling with Johners HQ. I've never called it that before, but here we go in my spare bedroom. But before I go live with any of my guests, I always do what's called a speed test. And that's to make sure that my internet is nice and fast, ready for my next guest. I did a speed test just before going live, and look who appeared on the right-hand side of my screen. None other than the Prince of Pace, Callum Newman. Callum, great to have you on the show. How you doing there?
I'm doing good. Doing the old speed test going in.
There you go. I bet you wonder where I was going with that. It all made sense in the end.
I'm a bit speechless, you know. I didn't know where it was going.
But it all makes sense. Prince of Pace is on my show. But listen, great to have you on the show. And I said to you off air that you've been on my wish list, my bucket list of guests to have on for a little while now. So it's great to be speaking to you. And over the next hour, or however long this interview goes, we're going to be talking to Callum Newman live on Wrestling with Johners, episode 299. And for anybody that wants to get in touch, you can do. So we are live across Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch. Get in touch. If you want to send Callum Newman, the Prince of Pace, any questions live on air, you can do. Ping them through to us using your chosen device, and we'll do our very best to bring them up live on air. And we've got questions that have come through already, and one or two that were sent to me before we went live. But just a reminder before we start talking to the Prince of Pace of some of my guests recently. And don't forget to kind of hit like and hit subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss any of my future guests that I have lined up for the future. But we had Niwa at the end of April, I believe, and a fantastic guest, brilliant journey from New Zealand to Mexico to Europe and to the UK. At the beginning of the month, I had Farm Strong Toby Valentine ahead of his Southwest Wrestling Championship match. Against his opponent, Southwest Wrestling, in Exmouth, the 20th of May, so just around the corner. But Toby Valentine was a fantastic guest. And most recently, I've had the freshest, the flyest, the finest Harrison Leon on the show. What a fantastic guest he was. That was last Thursday. And of course, looking ahead to episode 300, and have none other than the host of the Nina Samuels show, former WWE NXT UK star, and the current Riot Cabaret Women's Champion, Nina Samuels. But today, it's all about this gentleman here, Callum Newman. And Callum, straight off the bat, 2023, it's been a busy year for you, hasn't it? I mean, I've been following your social posts, and you're here, there, and everywhere. But just the last 5 months or so, it's been pretty bonkers for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been insane, especially like since the start of the year, because like I've been going non-stop. This is like, I think, the first time where I've had to like plan a bit of time off more than anything.
Yeah, but I mean, recently
it has been hard.
Yeah, I know, and like I say, I think you're as busy as ever, and I think 2022 is probably your busiest year to date. But recently, you've just literally a few days ago come back from Germany, haven't you? How was that experience? Tell us a bit about that. And I've got a couple of pictures to bring up. But you was over in GWF, I think, and another promotion there. But you was there for a couple of dates. Tell us a little bit about your German experience. It's not your first time over in Germany, isn't it? Because I think you went over there about 6 months ago. It's probably your second or your third time out there. But how was your most recent tour of Germany?
It was really, really cool, because it's like the first time I've spent like the weekend like in a different country just for wrestling. Because I flew out with CPF and Leon Slater on the Saturday. And then we wrestled the Saturday night, and they went home on the Sunday. And then I had to do a 5-hour drive with Peter Tahani to Berlin for GWF. And it was probably the most tiring experience I've had wrestling, but it was so much fun because like just driving down the motorway, we just like, there was one bit, it was just a 3-hour kind of straight road, but the view was probably like the best motorway view I've ever seen in my life. And I just kept taking photos. It was literally just like a bright blue sky, and then just like kind of like mountains, but just like, it's just loads of hills. And it was so, this is gonna sound really stupid, but it was just so green. And I just kept staring at it. I just couldn't believe how colourful everything was. I was like, I could do, if I do this 5-hour drive every time, I could happily do it every time. It was great.
Yeah, different to any road trip I should imagine you've had over here in the UK. But obviously you've fallen in love with Germany, and they fallen in love with you. And like I saw a clip on possibly your Facebook the other day, yesterday maybe, and it was a clip of you kind of doing some of your spots against. Now let me just bring up the gentleman's name. I think this was the match here. Metahan,
Yeah.
and an incredible match, a great sequence of events. But the crowd in Germany, they were eating it up and going pretty wild for you. It sounds like you've made a bit of a name for yourself over there.
Yeah, the GWF crowd are insane. They I debuted there. When did I debut? Like a month ago, I think. 2 months. I don't remember.
It was earlier this year, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I got like the please come back chance after my match, and the promoter come out, and I don't know what he said, but I was nodding along like I knew what he was saying. But I think he said along the lines like, "Oh, you want him back? We'll bring him back." And as I done my entrance, the crowd just like erupted, and I was like, "Oh, well, this is great." And then once I finished the match on Sunday, I got the please come back chance again. I was like, I've never had this before, so. Like it's insane how like cool, and then like standing at merch, like everyone wanted a photo, and like just saying how great it was. And first time I had this at GWP on the Saturday, this guy come up to me, was like, "Oh, you're so great!" Blah, blah, blah. I was like, "Oh, thank you so much, really appreciate it." And he took a photo of all of us, and he turns around, and he goes, "Here you go," and just like tips me €5.
Nice.
I was like, "Oh, what?" Like I was like, "What's this for?" Because like everything I was selling was like 8x10, so like €10, and I didn't want to be like, "Oh, sorry," but anyway, no, just keep it. I was like, "Oh, no way! I've just been tipped for being good. This is insane." So I gave him like an 8x10 to say thank you.
It sounds like you're going to be over there more often, especially if the fans are kind of eating it all up and giving you tips at the merch stand for sure. We've had a few people get in touch already. A certain Joe Lando, don't know if you've ever heard of him before. Hello, Callum.
Get rid of him.
Really nice. And
get rid of him.
We got watching via YouTube, AW, and Callum is fantastic. So you got a lot of fans out there. Adam Wright watching us via YouTube. Hi, Adam. I'm so excited for this. So look, a lot of people looking forward to this interview. High anticipation. And one question I've got for yourself, and it is regarding you've been in the business, I think, officially about 5 years now. We were talking a little bit off air, and it's somewhere between 5 and 7 years. I think you said you had your first match when you were 13, but officially kind of got going when you were 15. So that would be about 5 years ago. But thinking about the Callum Newman of 2023, do you think at the moment we've got the best version of Callum Newman that we've ever had in terms of experience, your athleticism, your moveset in the ring? Where's your kind of mind at regarding where you are in the business?
Right now, I'm like the most confident I've ever been in anything. And that's like mindset, my look, how I move, how I feel, and just like, I guess like my mind for wrestling right now, because like after the unboxing show like last year, I was speaking to Dan Maloney. It was just before that, and I was just asking him for pointers, just on like, we're just talking about everything, and he basically put me on like this path to just basically get everything on the right track. And then it was kind of just like, right, because I tried like loads of stuff before that, and everything kind of worked, but nothing really stuck. But the pointers he gave me really like worked, and I just kept going since. And then like, I think as well, just like the matches I'm having recently, they've been constant bangers, and I'm like, I'm not saying it like thinking like, oh, I'm amazing, because I've got to think that I'm good, but I don't want to be like I don't have like too big of an ego, but like it recently has got to a point where it's like, no, I know that I have like this talent now where I can be considered one of the best junior heavyweights in the UK. I call myself the Prince of Pace and I can live up to the hype. Whereas before, I called myself it, but I couldn't keep up with the name, if that makes sense. But now, like I think since the Nick Wayne match, that's been like, no, I'm the Prince of Pace now. That's me. No one else can take that from me, and no one else can compare to me now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It sounds like everything's clicking, and certain things have started to make sense. And we'll talk about that Nick Wayne match in a minute, because it was one of the best matches I've seen in a long, long time. But when you mentioned earlier about your body and your physique, have you put a bit of work into your body and your physique and your workout recently? Because you're looking pretty good, if you don't mind me saying. It's a bit of gain there, and you're looking pretty good, and especially in this picture. You're looking ready for a battle and pretty ripped. But tell us about your kind of day-to-day fitness regime and what's gone into it recently. Like I say, I'm definitely noticing a bit of difference, certainly over the last 12 months.
It's more just like tracking like my macros. So like keeping an eye on like my calories, how much fat I'm having, how much protein I'm getting, how many carbs I'm having, and just like the workouts. So like day to day, it'd be like I'd wake up and I won't have my first meal till maybe like 2 o'clock. But as soon as I wake up, I'll kind of get ready, get dressed. I'll go to the gym, come back for maybe 2:30, just like have a shower maybe. And then even by then it's like 3 o'clock, then I'll have my first meal. And then maybe like I'll watch some wrestling and then kind of just figure out my meals from there. But like I always kind of make sure to work out kind of fasted in the morning, because I was doing loads of research like before when I was saying I tried other diets. I tried intermittent fasting, and that was very much like if you work out fasted, it helps burn fat more. So I think I'm trying to use bits that helped in one diet and then mixing it with another, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's just finding what worked really well with what, and then mixing it all. So that's kind of pretty much it day to day.
You're finding that a lot of top athletes, a lot of pro wrestlers are using the fasting method, and especially people like Robbie X, for example. He swears by fasting and using that method, and he has done so for probably over a year now, and it's worked out great for him. Let's talk about one of your highlights from this year. And we got Adam Wright is kind of prompting us here, but we waited so long for that Nick Wayne match, and it was insane. Your jacket almost your jacket is almost finished. I'll make sure I bring it at the next show, at the next ballroom show. So is that your designer for your gear then? Because I was going to ask about your gear. Do you know Adam?
So he come to the Nick Wayne match, and he brought Nick. He made a jacket, like a denim jacket for Nick, and paint on the back.
Right.
And then he showed me. He said he was going to make me one. So I'm just going to wonder what he's going to draw on it.
Interesting. Yes, interesting.
Yeah, everyone did wait a while for that Nick Wayne match.
Absolutely. And I mean, for anybody, and I've actually got a short video here for anybody that hasn't seen it. Now, it is available. I think it was chapter 150 when the man comes around of Progress. And it is available on demand, of course. Just go to progresswrestling.com/watch. Sign up to Progress on Demand. You will not be disappointed. The best $7.99 you spend all month. But I had the vantage point of upstairs in the balcony area, and his is a 40-second clip of some of the amazing action that took place between Nick Wayne and Callum Newman. Wow. Does that bring back some good memories for you?
We are so good.
That was just phenomenal. And of course, I mean, the match should have taken place the previous year at Handshakes and Cheeseburgers last September, but Nick was unfortunately injured, suffering a slight injury. When that match couldn't take place because of Nick's injury, how did you feel? You must, I mean, I know you were so looking forward to that match, and it was kind of like taken away from you on the day of the show. You must have been pretty gutted that first time round.
Yeah, I was pissed, like real bad, because there was the TNT Weekender, like literally, like the day before that, and I did the Thursday show and stayed till Saturday because Joe Lando was doing the GCW show, so I just stayed with him. Then we travelled together to go to Progress, and when I was watching the GCW show, I was speaking to Nick Wayne's mum, and she was saying like how excited he was, and he's like, it's like, oh, he's purposely going easy this whole weekend just so he's like ready for you. And I was like, well, that's cool. Like he's like, he wants to go as hard as I want to do, like in this match. It's gonna be insane. And then I watched the match I had with Joey Janela, and I was like, the match we're gonna have is gonna be insane. I remember going up to Martin, and I just went, I'm sorry, but your show's ruined. Like we're gonna go insane. I'm sorry. And yeah, then the Sunday came and he said that he was hurt, and then I think he was in the physio for like 45 minutes, and I was like, yeah, this is not looking good. And when I finally got told, I was like, oh, this sucks. But then like when I spoke to him after, and I was like, look, I don't want you to like push yourself more and get hurt more, because it's just gonna, because you go into like Japan like either the week after or a few weeks after, and I was like, there's no point wrestling me because like we're both young anyway, so we still got like ages to do this again. But I'm very happy that the match didn't happen as well, because I feel like if that Callum had that match, he wouldn't be able to do what Callum now could do. So but that way, like as much as I hated it not happening before, I'm quite happy that Biker Shorts Newman could make the match happen.
So what do you think was the difference between, the September and was it the February or the March when the match did actually happen? Probably March, actually. So what do you think was the difference? Do you think that you were mentally more ready or physically more ready? What do you think was the difference in your mind?
To be honest, I don't know. I think something just clicked, because I was trying so long to like, because Will was like giving me like a kick up the arse here and there, and like nothing was really like sticking, and it was really just annoying me. And I was just kind of like, it got to the point I was like, oh, I'm not happy. I don't like it. I don't like the way I'm wrestling. I don't like the way I look. I don't like this. I don't like that. And it got to a point I kind of just felt sorry for myself. And it was just shit basically. And then I think around that time, that's when I spoke to Dan, and he was like, let's give it a go. I was like, all right, well, I think as well, I was kind of like, if I don't look good at this point, then I'm just going to, kind of get a full-time job and then just do whatever. And then
we're glad that never happened anyway. We're glad that never happened.
Yeah. But I kind of followed what he said, and then it all started working. And I realized, because before I'd train cardio and I'd do like a 10-second sprint on the treadmill, get off, and I'd be like gassed. I couldn't breathe. Now I can run for ages. And I think it was literally a case of like stuff's very, very slowly. I'm like the most impatient person you'll ever meet. And like very slowly stuff started clicking. And I think it was that Nick Wayne match where everything all came together. And it was when I landed the backflip to feet from the German, and everything went in slow-mo. And I remember just standing there looking at him and being like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is me. And I was like, I finally reached that point I've wanted to reach for probably that whole last year. So I've finally, like, I've been clawing at it the whole of like 2022, but now I've got it, and now I want more. And then as soon as we started doing everything else and we got to that double down, Tom come over and he's going, let's fucking go, boys. You fucking got this, loudest ever fucking, and he like saying all that kind of stuff. I remember feeling that tiny bit blown. And as soon as I heard him say that, I had like a second wind and all my gas come back, and I was ready to go again. And I just wish we had more time. That was the only thing. I just wish we had like way more time.
Incredible, but I mean that sequence was breathtaking, and like I say, the whole match was amazing, and clearly Adam's favourite match of all time. But I think I read on one of your socials it's probably one of your favourite matches you've ever had as well.
Yeah, it is definitely like it's definitely up there.
Yeah, here's a few pictures from the match itself. And I don't think these pictures do the whole match justice. So another one that I urge you to go and check out on demand, Progress on Demand, if you're not already. And a lot of respect shown between yourself and Nick after the match. And if I remember rightly, you got a standing O. You got a standing ovation from the fans in the ballroom. It was absolutely crazy. And I distinctly remember that you had some very enthusiastic fans standing very near me up in the balcony. I think your family were up there. Your mum and your nan going absolutely crazy. Yeah. I think your nan actually got a bit of a nan chant, didn't she, from the ballroom fans that night?
Yeah.
She got herself over.
Yeah, probably. They usually do. Not the loudest ones there. Yeah,
but I mean, after the standing ovation, obviously the adrenaline, going backstage. I mean, where was your head at? What was your feeling? Going backstage after that incredible match with a standing ovation, and just knowing in your head that you just absolutely smashed it between yourself and Nick. You must have been kind of, just momentum high. All the emotions.
Yeah, there was definitely like a lot. Because it was like I said, it was like the first time where I was like, I'm not gassed. I don't feel hurt. I can come back. And obviously there's going to be stuff I'm like, I could have done this better, done that better. Like, that's every match. And if I don't do that, then like, I shouldn't be wrestling. If I don't come back and I'm like, oh, everything went perfect. But like, it was definitely like one of the first times where I was like, I'm so proud of that match. The first time I had that was my Progress debut with CPF doing the 4-way. I remember being like, I'm with my best friends, and we've just opened the show, got a standing ovation, please come backs and everything. And like it was, and I think as well, like at the end of like the Nick Wayne match, we got some of the fans to kind of like, I don't know how to word it, but like I think I'd done the shooting star. And as Nick kicked out, I heard someone go, this is the first fucking match. And I was like, sorry, but it's not my fault. I was put on first. And then someone else went, we've got 8 more of these. And then when I went to do merch after, people were saying like, oh, I could have happily gone home. Like that match has like sorted out my ticket price. I could have gone home after that. I was like, that's really cool. I was like, but they're my friends on the show. So, watch them, please. Yeah. But like, that was really cool just to hear that.
Absolutely. And funny you should say that, because I've actually got a video of that shooting star press. Look at that. Come on, Callum, let's go. But the hang time on that was just phenomenal. And one more clip I want to bring up. And if anybody wants to know a reason why Callum Newman is called the Prince of Pace, just watch this. How on earth did you do that? You kind of like somersaulted or cannonballed through the middle rope there. I've watched it so many times it almost doesn't seem physically possible.
Yeah, I to be fair, I don't know how I do a lot of things. Most of the stuff I kind of just like, I kind of watch it and I'm like, oh, if they can, so my mentality of everything is, if you can do it, then I should be able to. And then like the shooting star, So I remember watching like Paul Robinson do Shooting Stars, and like I was like, oh, that does look really hard. And I think I watched Brock Lesnar do the Shooting Star. I was like, oh, if he can do one, then why can't I? And then I just started teaching myself how to do a shooter, and then I got it in the end. But like, yeah, like I tell you, I think that Cannonball was literally like I watched. Who did I watch do it? I think it might have been like Robbie Eagles. I was like, I'm just gonna go for it, see what happens. And then
Wow.
now I just I try and make a competition of like, I think I try and get them to go to where most of the chairs are, and I try and see which row I can hit. And I think my record now is like third row, so I've got to beat that now.
Oh man, absolutely fantastic. And another highlight, certainly of 2023 for me, and I'm sure for yourself as well, when it was the 8-man Lucha Rules tag match from Progress in Manchester from earlier on this year. And there's just a few photos there, courtesy of Progress Wrestling. Thank you very much. But a lot of respect shown after that match. Another highlight, not just of yours, but the 0121 and the CPF boys. Another banger. And you said that 2023 has just been banger after banger. And that 8-man Lucha Rules match has to be up there as well.
Oh, that's probably the best 8-man. I feel like CPF and I 012 have had, because I think Dan said that's the first time all four of them have been in the ring together as well, like as 0121.
Yeah.
And I feel like CPF as well. We've all had like the odd 8-man, but like I feel like that was one that made us all be like, right, both of us are the best kind of factions going, and we've mixed together, and it was another banger. And like it's like we did the Manchester show, and that was a standing ovation. We've just done me and Mayhew against Dan and Reese. There was another standing O. So it is literally like CPF and 0121 mix so well that like every match we're going to have is going to be a banger.
Oh, 100%. And let's just see where. Oh, one more Progress highlight of yours from 2023. It was actually a match where you kind of suffered not just an injury, but a fatality. Gene Money's Darth Lad Emporium. You know where I'm going with this. I don't want to give too much.
So.
Don't want to give too much away. But once again, something else you're going to have to sign up to Progress on Demand. Let's put it this way: that after the opening match, I'm glad to see you here today. You know, I'm pleased to see you here because you died, and people were kind of stepping over your body. People stepped over your body to get to their match. You know, the second and third match. So, but that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? And kind of, playing the part of the dead body.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what, though? I've got a problem with Nina and Danny Luna. They didn't even check on me. They just kind of popped their head out. I was like, oh, all right, then I guess he's dead then, and carried on walking. All right.
Unbelievable. More interested in their own match than the good friends Callum Newman, of course. Another thing that I want to talk to you about is OTT, because I believe, I did have to check my facts on this, but I think you made your OTT debut only this year. Is that correct?
Yep.
In a match against Omari, so their former OTT champion. I think probably a couple of weeks after he had lost the OTT championship, you fought Omari over in Dublin. What was that experience like?
Probably one of the best. Like, so I was so nervous the whole day because I've been like, when the people ask me, I kind of tell them everything. So like, I was messaging Joe Cabray, like, so the promoter, for about a year, just being like, I want to get on. I want to do OTT. And then I think I just annoyed him to the point it was like, here's a date. And then I think I was more nervous because I was like, oh shit, I've got to, I have to show out now. And it was, I felt like it was more of a case of like, oh, put your money where your mouth is. And so the whole day I was traveling with Ricky Knight Jr. and like, we've got to Stansted. I'm trying to scan my ticket. It's not working. So I had to go queue up for ages to print my ticket out. Then I went back with a printed ticket and that didn't work. Then I lost my passport in the airport and then I found that again. And then we've like got there and I'm just nervous the whole time. But then as soon as I come through the curtain, like the Irish crowd was so welcoming, and like I've never felt more comfortable in a crowd, like in a show as well. So it was like I was I was really nervous. Come out, done the entrance, stood in the ring, and it felt like, I don't know, it just felt really calming, and like everything was kind of just like zen. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll go with that word. But yeah, and then
Good
I'm
word.
going back soon. Yeah, that's the word. But no, we're going back.
Well, you've got the OTT tag team tournament, haven't you? And that's going to be awesome. Now, so I cropped this from Twitter yesterday, and those are the brackets. And you're going up against an old rival, a team that you know very well, Brendan White and Danny Jones, the Greedy Souls. And you faced them quite a few times for Rev Pro or at Rev Pro. You must be looking forward to that encounter, but you're taking one of the CPF boys this time. So I don't know if it's been announced who, but it'll be CPF versus the Greedy Souls.
It is. I don't know if I can say who I'm.
Well, if it's a secret, you don't have to divulge. I don't want to get you into trouble.
Yeah, I'll let the Greedy Souls shiver because they won't know who it is.
That's it. They'll have to find out who comes through the curtain. If you go through first, and then it could be any one of the other three coming behind you. It's going to be that will throw them out of their game plan. That's what you want to do. You want to throw them out of their game plan. Don't divulge your partner.
Exactly. I'll keep it a secret, and no one's going to know. I won't even let him know. But yeah, I've wrestled them loads with JJ Gale at Rev Pro. And me and Danny wrestled them at Riot twice. Yeah, I think twice, yeah. It's another match that's like our styles mix really well. It's a case of two heavyweights against two junior heavyweights. And like I really like those styles because I feel like they do mix really well. Because like you never know what you're gonna get. You never know if like the junior heavyweight's gonna try and go for like more speed, or if they can have like the power to kind of throw the heavyweight, or you don't know if the heavyweight's gonna do something crazy off the ropes. Because I've seen Brendan do like a second rope moonsault, and he hasn't done it yet in one of our matches, which I'm quite happy, and I hope he don't do it soon because it will crush me.
But it's the clash of styles, isn't it? And it's the clash of dynamics and almost the David versus Goliath storyline. And, there's so many interesting stories that could be told in matches like that. And I'm a huge tag team wrestling fan anyway, because I think it's the best gimmick match of all time, to be honest with you, although a lot of people don't consider it a gimmick match. But I love tag wrestling and can't wait to kind of see that one back. But in Rev Pro, and we'll talk more about Rev Pro in a minute, but in Rev Pro, I mean, people are usually familiar with yourself teaming with one of the CPF boys, but in Rev Pro, you don't team with one of the CPF boys, do you? It's JJ Gale. So tell us about your partnership, your friendship with JJ, because he's your regular, so I might say, long-time partner over in Rev Pro, isn't he?
Yeah, we're not tag partners anymore. We kind of decided that. Yeah, we kind
Sorry
of.
about that. I didn't want to kind of upset your. These things happen, I suppose.
You're bringing back some heart. You're bringing me back some heartache. But
there's the man there. Yeah. Sorry, I'll just flash it up. There you go. He's gone now. Just briefly.
My heart. But we decided that we should like kind of go down two different paths because the tag team just wasn't working. I think we won maybe like 2 matches out of like too many, and that match literally, the tag team literally came about of Will just being like, these two are similar, put them together. I think kind of because Andy does mention a lot that like on comms like this tag team came about because Will Ospreay put them together because Will wrestled me. And I think the next day wrestled JJ. And I think he was like they wrestle kind of the same, so put them together and see how it goes. And it did start really well. I think we took a little while to kind of warm up to each other with like just kind of talking and like how we both wrestle and how our psychology both kind of work. Yeah. So then I think once we got past that, we both mix very well. But I think it's just a case of I think we both want separate things like at the end of the day.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So I think, but then we both was like, look, it's not working. So,
yeah, all good tag teams split in the end, don't they? As long as it wasn't kind of like the Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty kind of, he wasn't going to kick you through a barbershop window or the other way around. But it ended amicably, which is the most important thing. It ended well.
That's the one. That's the one.
We've had a ton of questions come through. I will get to them all in due course. But I want to talk to you and take a bit more of a deep dive into Rev Pro, because they've been a big part of your career, certainly over the last 3 or 4 years. I think you made your debut for them in 2019. You had one appearance for them in 2019, and then you wrestled a whole bunch for them during their No Fans pay-per-views from Southampton in 2020 and 2021. What were those kind of No Fans pay-per-views like? Because I mean, I've got a list here of some of your opponents during them No Fans shows, the likes of Maloney, Ridgeway. You started teaming with JJ, of course. You had a whole ton of matches, and of course, not forgetting that epic Encounter 2 pay-per-view with Will Ospreay. And I'll just flash up the image there. And that would have been, you must have been, what, 17, 18 when that match took place. Your one and only one-on-one encounter with Mr. Osprey there. And I think he's going to come up once or twice during this conversation. But take us back to those no fan shows, because I've spoken to a lot of talent that were at the Peckham tapings for Progress, but never anybody that was at the Southampton tapings for Rev Pro. How was your experience of those?
Very strange, because I don't think we was really given much information on it, and none of us really knew how to go about it. So it was kind of just like, look, I think Andy was more just like, I want to put on the best professional wrestling, because that's pretty much what Rev Pro is, like pro wrestling at its best.
Yeah.
And it's in his training school, and to be fair, with what he had, he made it look insane, because he blacked out all the walls, had the spotlights in, and like just made it. I thought it felt like a bit like a fight club, because it was really tight, but it was all blacked out, and it's literally right. There's a ref, fight. There's medics down there. They'll keep an eye on you. Have it out. And I thought it was great. But the only thing that wasn't great, I think we all kind of had to work out how to like wrestle for people behind a screen,
right?
Because I feel like we was kind of doing matches where it'd be like, here's the downtime for like people to come up, but we did the beats, laid there, and there's no noise. You can just hear yourself breathing. And I think the first time I heard myself breathe, it made me uncomfortable. I was like, I can hear myself being gassed. Like I don't like this. And I think so when I wrestled Dan, that was like the very first match. We didn't wrestle till like, I think like 12:30, like, so like gone midnight. And I was like, wow. I'm ready for bed. So I want to go to sleep. Just because I think everyone's kind of getting used to it. But then everything else after that, everyone's kind of like, right, no, we have to do this, kind of how we have to go about it. But looking back, it was really fun, because like we spent like 3 days in Portsmouth, like with all my friends, and like we was all hanging out. Like we went to like play mini golf, and like loads of us went on them like swans. You know, you have them like
like pedalos sort of things.
Yeah. We just got on one of them, and it was like, who is it? It was like me, Dan, Kyle, Will. Who else was there? I can't remember who else, but like there was a few of us on it, and we all got on one, and the swan started to sink. There was people like pointing and laughing at us. It was like, you know what, we're in now, so if we sink, we sink.
Yeah, but there's some big dudes on that swan, I'm sure. Taking you back to them tapings, and obviously I flashed up the image a moment ago, but Epic Encounter 2, Will Ospreay, Callum Newman, and remarkably, and I clarified this before we went live, but remarkably, that's your only one-on-one encounter, and even more so, it was in front of no fans. So quite a strange situation, a strange environment. But obviously someone that you're very closely associated to, Will Ospreay. How was that experience for you?
Oh, terrifying! Like very, very scary, because I kind of like, I don't tell anyone, but like I hold myself to quite a high standard because of being so like kind of like associated with Will. Because no matter what, people are like, oh, you're the next Will. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And like, at first I kind of was like, yeah, this is cool. But then when I started kind of figuring out who I was, it's like, say like last year, and I wasn't happy with anything. I was like, I
Mm,
do not deserve to be called the next Will, like at all. I don't deserve to be known as Will's trainee, Will's like friend,
yeah.
like all that training before. Please forget it. I don't deserve any of this. But then, like this year, I'm like, no, like I'm quite proud to now be known as Will Ospreay's protege. I'm now proud that Will has had like all this training, like he's helped me out this much, and I'm quite proud that everything's Will, like everything that Will's given me, it's all paid off. And like especially that match, I was so scared because I'm like, this is literally like I guess like the future versus like the now.
Yeah.
And I that match, for especially where I was at, I I definitely like. I think I gave him a run for his money, like 100%. Because I think I gave him like the Oscar, and I was smiling, giving the pin. I think I'm really hoping the camera's at the back of me. When I gave him the Oscar, I pinned him. I was just smiling. I was like, I just gave my hero the fucking Oscar. This is great. And then he smashed me in the back of the head. And I was like, this ain't great anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
Stormbreaker.
it didn't last for long, but
Yeah.
you know, clearly, you know, you are heavily associated with Will Ospreay, and people have been saying pretty much from day dot that you're the next Will Ospreay, you're his protege. But when did you first meet Will? I read somewhere that it was probably when you was about 15 years old, so you know, 5 or 6 years ago. Tell us that story of how and when you first met Will Ospreay.
Right. This is probably gonna be a long one.
Go on.
But so right. So I was training at a school called Knuckle Locks in Brixton. So it was like the old Progress training school. And this one I kind of done. They did like an 8-week course, so I just finished the 8-week course. I got into the training school, and I think it was a Matt Riddle seminar. And I remember going up to mum and dad and being like, "Look, can I go?" And I was like, "Well, how much is it?" And I think it was like 30 quid. And they was like, "Yeah, fine. We'll just you know, there you go, do it. It's fine." And then I went to school. It was even, I think it was the next week. So I was like, "Oh, thanks for doing the Matt Riddle one. Really appreciate it." I went to school, come back, logged onto Facebook. Uh, and then Knuckles posted 2-day Will Ospreay seminar. And I remember looking at it going, oh fuck, I don't want to ask him because like I've just asked for this Matt Riddle one, and £30 a lot of money. So I was like, I'm not gonna ask. And then I think my mum saw me kind of staring at it, and I was like, oh, I really want to ask, but I don't. So I just put my phone down. And I was like, I'm not gonna look at it. I'm not gonna ask. I'll just do the Matt Riddle one and shut up and be happy. And this was a time where wrestling was like it was kind of going like really really bad. Like, we won't get into that bit, but it's just like it all sucked. So I was like, I'll kind of just maybe pack it in, and then but I was just like, yeah, I'll leave it. I won't ask about the Will Ospreay one. And then my dad goes, oh, what are you looking at? I was like, nothing. Don't worry. He goes, oh, well, all right. Well, make sure you're not doing nothing next weekend. You're gonna go train with Will Ospreay. I'm like, huh? And he goes, yeah, you're doing the 2-day seminar. And I was like, nah, all right, you know, because my dad likes to take the piss a lot as well. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And I kind of brushed it off. And he went, no, here you go. Here's like the confirmation and all that, because they was
Nice.
like, make sure you book it and get the message. I was like, oh shit, no way. Gave him my mum and dad a hug and all that. And then, yeah, went to the seminar and then met Will from there. And I think it was the first day, did the training with Will. And he was calling me like Eddie Guerrero, like the way I was moving and stuff, which I thought was kind of cool. I think at the time I didn't have a clue. I knew who Eddie Guerrero was, but I didn't really know like kind of what he did in wrestling. Like I knew the name, and I remember going up to him. I was like, oh, "Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Like I'm kind of quitting, but you know, thanks. I really appreciate it." He went like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, man. It's probably like my last training session, but it was fun because we were doing top rope ranas and stuff." And then my mum and dad had to like sit at the back of the sessions because I was like, yeah, like 15, so I couldn't really go to Brixton by myself. And there was, oh, is that are they your parents back there? I was like, yeah, yes, my mum and dad. He's going, all right, cool. He just walked straight over to him, and I remember some people going like, thanks, Will, and he was kind of like going, yeah, cool, see you later, and then going straight to my dad, and it was basically like, do not let him quit. Like, there's only some people that kind of have a talent. He's got a talent. Do not let him quit. And then my dad was like, well, if you're saying that, then I guess we can't let him quit. And then I was like, oh, if he's saying that, then this is really cool. And then we went to the one the next day, and then I think we was doing more like top rope runners and stuff. And then he come up to literally like, do not quit. And then he pushed me to go to the London School of Lucha Libre. And then from there, that's where he kind of really took me under his wing and was like, right, I'm going to help you now. So yeah,
that's incredible.
The story of meeting our William. So if my mum and dad didn't have that surprise,
yeah. Well, like I say, we might not be speaking to Callum Newman here in 2023, but like I say, good for your mum and dad, I suppose. And I mean, thinking back to your kind of maybe your first few months in the wrestling business, I think we're talking probably early to mid 2018. You know, did you feel that you were finding your feet quite easily? Were you taken to it quite naturally? Obviously, Will Ospreay saw something in you, thought that you were a natural, you know, pretty much pleaded with your parents to make you stay in the business. So you must have had something very early on, some natural talent there. How did you adapt kind of early on, especially at such a young age, doing matches on the road or, you know, just finding your feet in the ring?
It did come quite naturally, just like general, like just kind of doing moves and matches. Because for like ages before that, I'd like put on wrestling matches with my little brother for my mum and dad, like on a trampoline. So like, I know I always kind of felt like that was fun, like kind of fun, and then doing training matches at training.
Sure.
But like actually performing in front of a crowd and like being able to kind of take my shirt off in front of like 60 people, that was the stuff I found like the most uncomfortable with. But everything else like really kind of just clicked straight away. But it was more just like showing out, because I can be quite a shy person. Like when I'm around some people, I'll be the loudest dickhead you'll know. But then like I think in new environments, I am very much like, right, I'm going to keep my head down. Hi, nice to meet you. Then like I kind of like usually carry headphones with me, so I can just put my headphones in and kind of find a spot and just listen to music. Yeah. And that's what I do like the first few shows. But then I think once I kind of found my feet and found my confidence, it was like, this is easy. And then kind of just really went from there, being like, nah, I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah, and we've had some questions come through about Will Ospreay. Let's see if I can find them. Let's bring this one up. Adam Wright again. But now that Will Ospreay is back in progress, would you fancy going one-on-one with Ospreay, or maybe a triple threat with Ospreay and Nick Wayne? And when are we going to see Callum going after some gold? So a couple of good questions there from Adam. So thank you so much. But now that obviously you know, you're a mainstay in Rev Pro. You're a regular in Progress. Obviously, Osprey's come back, albeit super strong style. Do you fancy having a 2023 match with Ospreay and maybe mixing it up, throw Nick Wayne in there as well, a triple threat? That's Adam on Adam's bucket list for sure.
I don't think anyone's ready for it. Imagine the
scenes insane,
that would go off.
It would be insane.
It would be a bit mental, but definitely, like I was thinking about it, and I was like, I'm definitely more confident to have a match with Will this year. Now, now, because I feel like I could definitely keep up with him. Like I could keep up with him when I was 17. So why couldn't I keep up with him now? I'm 20. So like, and like, it's like a 3-year gap of learning and kind of evolving, especially since the start of the year.
Yeah.
Like my confidence has been, I don't want to sound like I've got this massive ego, but I do feel like
I totally get it
as well. As I look at it, it's like he's like, so Will's like my hero, he's my trainer. I look at him like an older brother, but when it comes to like the point where like, right, we're standing corner to corner, mate, I'm gonna give you a run for your money, and I'm gonna show you that all the training that you've given me, all the bits of help that you've given me, they've all paid off, but I've learned new tricks along the way as well. And I think the day that's going to happen, like that match will happen, because I think it's like, just because of our relationship anyway, there's not, like, knock on wood, but like, there's no way that that match is not going to happen. Like, I can't see it not happening.
It's
But
got to happen.
it's a case of, I don't know if I want it now, or if I want everyone to see me like keep going up and up and up and up and up to the point where, like, if I don't get this match, I'm not going to watch wrestling anymore. I feel like that's where
There's
I
got to
want
be a
it.
story
But if
behind
the
it.
match
There's got to
happens
be a
this year,
hook. There's got to be a story behind it, I think. And
of course,
you know, obviously you had that match back in 2020. Put a bit of a story behind it. You know, the Master, the Prodigy, build to it. And but like I say, I mean, Will Ospreay is going to be at Super Strong Style. I think Nick Wayne's been announced as being at Super Strong Style. We'll have to see if you're there. Who knows? Anything could happen. Anything could happen.
We'll see. We'll see. I
Anything
might
could
come
happen.
along.
Yeah, come along. You know, I've heard some wrestling is going to be happening. 3 days of action. The Peckham Playboy Hakan has been in touch. Before Will Ospreay, Callum loved me. So there you go. I know he was one of your early opponents, wasn't he? Or back in the day?
No, Hakan. There was like an old promotion we used to go to, and he used to wrestle on there. So I used to be like, it's like 10-year-old kid just shouting abuse at Hakan.
Oh, fantastic. And Hakan's been in touch again. Now, the Kingo versus Newman. How do you feel about this match? Now, you've probably seen a little bit of the Kingo, I think, appearing on AEW and one or two other promotions. Seems to be one of the hottest talents the other side of the pond. But do you fancy that one? Do you know much about that guy?
Oh yeah, I've seen like all the stuff he's been doing. Been like keeping up. The guy's insane. Does like a cartwheel on the top rope. I don't understand how it works. Like, it freaks me out. But like, to be fair, I'm going to say this. Okay, I won't say most, but some of the stuff that he does, I can do just as well. Like, if some of the clips that I put on my Instagram of me doing like wrestling in my back garden, I just watched some like Kingo clips, and I was like, I'm just going to try it, see what happens, and it's all pulled off. Like doing the jump to the middle into a 180 twist to the top rope into a 450. I can do that, and no one expects it from me because I'm like 6'1", and like you're too tall for this. And like, I know, but I can do it anyway. So
Amazing.
it just works.
Amazing.
But like, I think it's literally a case of if you can do it, why can't I?
Oh, amazing. And another viewer watching us via YouTube, we got Santiago Riaz watching us from Puerto Rico. So, hi, Santiago. Pretty cool that you're watching it. And Adam Wright again. That triple threat between Ospreay, Wayne, and Newman would set the world on fire. It certainly set the ballroom on fire for sure. But keep sending us your questions. Keep sending us your comments. And I need to find my place on my notes here. But yeah, that would be pretty cool. Let's have a look. So, 2019, from my research, appeared to be a bit of a breakout year for you, Callum. I don't know if you'd agree, but you obviously picked up the Lucha Libre title on 2 occasions in 2019. You had a dark match for Progress in 2019. You had debuts for Southside, Frontline, WrestleGate, Lucha Britannia, NGW, WAW, and more. There was clearly a lot of buzz around you 2018 going into 2019. In 2019 you were branching out, you were kicking doors down, working for all sorts of promotions, doing some great things. You probably would only have been 17 at the time, but what do you remember about that period in your career around 2019 when things, you know, seemed to be going really well for you and doing lots of cool stuff for different promotions?
It was literally that. I was traveling nonstop and like constantly being somewhere, and like going to like college, and then they're like, oh, do you want to come hang out with us? I'm like, no, I've got to go to Norwich, and like try and explain to them that I'm traveling every weekend, like everywhere I'm somewhere, and I don't want to come out and like party. It was a lot of case of like I was losing a lot of friendships because of wrestling. So then I kind of like it was a case of just like being on my own for a little bit. Like I had some friends that I kept, but it was like a big case of I kind of come to reality of like, right, if I want this, I'm gonna have to just accept the fact that I'm not gonna have many friends. But then I accepted it, and then everything started like picking up. I was in like Hull one weekend. The next day I was in Norwich. Next day I was doing like some runs in like Essex. Like it was insane. And then I just remember like being on top of the world. And then like, was it that year? I think no, it was like I think early like 2020. where like Dave Meltzer was like, yeah, this kid's got it. This kid's gonna like be something one day. And then the fucking world shut down, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. So I've literally gone bang, 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 bosh, and then that was it. So
Crazy.
and then and then I was kind of like a bad time, but then I literally took it as I can either be sad about it and kind of be like, right, that's what it is what it is. But then I think that's where the click was. I was like, I want to get back to being that point of being on like this insane ride.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get back to that point, but 10 times better, which is pretty much what I've done.
Absolutely. And another moment within 2019, I briefly touched on it there, but Lucha Britannia. And now I've got a picture to bring up here. I did show you before we went live. You did have a chuckle, but look at that. And that was when you were a dark Britannico in your Lucha Britannia days, and you told me that you're also pure Britannicos. Oh, where's my guest gone? He is still there. He is still there under the hoodie. But take us back, because I mean, I spoke to Tom Dawkins on the show a few months back, and he said that the Lucha Britannia days were just, you know, some of his favourite memories, some of his favourite days, you know, in pro wrestling, and a lot of the top UK names now came through that system, came through that school, and came through those shows, and you were there as well.
Yeah. Lucha Britannia was definitely probably like one of the most fun shows I've ever been a part of. Because you just did, like, every night you just didn't know what to expect. I think you could look at a show and kind of have like a rough idea of like, oh, this could happen, this could happen. Oh, I'd like to see this happen. Britannia, there was no point in guessing, because whatever you thought was going to happen, it'd be a complete 180, and it was just insane. But yeah, I started off as pure Britannico, and then which was Kara's old gimmick, and then I was told that I was going to be Dark Britannico, which was Will's old gimmick. And I was like, so I'm just being handed down these gimmicks, but Dark Britannico was definitely like the most fun that I've had. Yeah.
Look at that man.
I think I was like, I'll get back to that soon. But like, I think like Dark Britannico is definitely the most fun, because I could just shout at people as loud as I could. And everyone's like, I think someone said, we could definitely tell you from Essex. I think it's the amount that I swore. Like, okay, I'll calm it down a little bit.
Oh, fantastic. If ever, next time there's a progress unboxing or something weird and wacky, you got to break out the mask again. You got to break it. Have you ever been tempted to come out in a mask? Because you've not wrestled in a mask since them days, have you?
No, like, so my first gimmick for London's what was it? London Lucha League was a gimmick called Neon Dragon, which was literally, I wore bright green and orange, a green and orange mask, and just the Neon Dragon, because they was like, we want you to have a character, and we're all about lucha, and you're good at lucha, so wear this. And I was like, okay, cool. And I remember at first it sucked, I couldn't breathe, but then it was one of the things I got used to it. But there is times where I'm like, I want to bring back a mask gimmick, because it's so much fun. Because like, it's like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Like in the movie, he's really animated with his body, and like, I think there's a scene where who did you have? It's like his Gwen Stacy. He's like talking to her, and he's getting annoyed that she's not listening, and like he's using his hands, his head, his legs, his body, his shoulders, everything to show how annoyed he was. And I was like, that's how everything is in a mask in like wrestling as well, because you can't use your face. It's like, now I can get hit and I can show you with my face how much it hurts, but in a mask I've got to like use my hands, my arms, and everything, like drop to a shoulder and come up and like everything, and it's a lot more work, but when you watch it back, it's a lot more fun. So there is times I'm like, I might just bring it back just like at the odd time.
Oh, awesome. A few more people that have reached out during the course of this interview, and I've checked Facebook. So this is Adam Mansfield, and he says in his 30 years of wrestling, he's never seen anybody move as fast as you do. He says it's scary. It is scary. We saw it earlier when he did the cannonball through the ropes. That was scary. And then the people in the front row were probably scared as well. And Adam Wright has been in touch again. Thanks so much, Adam. Any advice for someone 8 months into his training and looking to debut in July? What advice do you have for him over the next few months and beyond? So I know that, say, a lot of people look up to you as an experienced pro now, Callum, and wanting advice from you. But if you've got any basic advice there for somebody 8 months in, trying to find his feet as a trainee, maybe character-wise, but any kind of off the top of your head advice for Adam there?
I'd say just don't. This is going to sound bad, but don't get overly excited, because I've seen it a lot of times where like people make their debut and they get really excited the fact that they're wrestling, they've got like their kick pads on and they're in front of people, and then they'll go in, wrestle the other guy, and then it'll just hurt them. And like, it's happened to me, it's happened to my friends, it's happened to so many people where it's literally just been a case of the other person knew and they've got excited. And it's literally a case of just remember what you've learned, remember where you are, but then it is a case of like, have a fun time. But then I don't know, I'm so serious about wrestling. It's like, it sounds like I'm saying don't have fun, but it's just a case of like, just remember to look after everyone, because we're all in this together. And like, it's just
good advice.
Have fun, but then kind of just look after them, because like, yeah. I don't know. I do try and be blunt with people, but like, I do feel like sometimes I am a bit too mean, because like people ask me for advice and I'm very blunt, like especially it's CPF. I'm the worst, because like, I think in Germany, I watched their match and I was like, yeah, this is really good, but that bit was really shit. And I don't know if they took it the wrong way, if not, but I'm like, you're my best friends. If I can't say something to your face that's really shit and I didn't like, then I'm sorry, but not sorry. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's too much sugarcoating, isn't there, when people give feedback, like, be honest. And we've had...
and like, please carry on. That's where I learned as well.
Yeah.
No, I was saying that's where I learned. So like, it's a case like Will. So many times I've done something and Will's been like, that's shit, never do that again. And I'd be like, all right, cool. But he didn't want to end it there. He'd be like, that's shit, but do this instead. And then it worked 100 times. So that's how I learned. So like, if that's helped me, then I'll do that to help other people.
Exactly. And we got Trickster Tom watching us via YouTube. Says, shout out to Callum's Nan, top tier support versus Nick Wayne. I've got to say, your Nan was absolutely fantastic. And you can probably hear her on playback on demand. But did you hear the chants from your family, or the shouts or the screams from your family from the balcony during that match? Did it put you off at all?
Yeah. Not really. It's more.
It clearly didn't put you off, because the match was amazing.
It was more when I had Nick hooked for something and someone went, Callum, I think your mum wants you to win, and I said, that's my nan, and everyone started laughing. But it never puts me off. I think the only time it puts me off is when my dad does it, because my dad is like, especially with wrestling, he's like really hard to please. But when I hear him do the "Go on, Callum," I'm like, oh, this must be going well if he's chanting then.
Oh, brilliant. Let's skip forward a little bit. And I think the first time I had proper exposure to yourself and the CPF boys, I think it was the 1st of August, 2021. And it was the debut show for Wrestle Carnival. I don't know if you remember, I was backstage doing my first ever backstage interview gig. Fortunately, I've got a lot better since then. But it was this match here. And it was the first of its kind at the time. Danny Black, Callum Newman, Joe Lando, Maverick Mayhew, and it opens the show, the first ever Wrestle Carnival show. A hell of a match. And like another match that you mentioned earlier, they could have finished the show there just on that opener. But such a tremendous match. I think you've only ever done it one more time since, and that was probably recently in Germany. But what do you remember about that match? Because I think it really, it was probably your third match back when kind of the doors reopened again. But to get the four of you inside the ring for the first time, 1v1, V1, V1, that must have been a thrill for you.
Oh, it was great because when we all got the message that we'd be against each other, we all got really excited because we wanted that match for ages at this point, and no one was really giving it to us. But then when it finally happened, we was like, "Oh, well, this is amazing," and we definitely delivered. I feel like that match wasn't good for that crowd because like the Nottingham crowd, I don't think they like our style of wrestling. But then as soon as we took that to Progress, we was like, well, we're gonna top that a million miles, and then we did exactly that. And I think the Progress one overshadowed the Wrestle Carnival one like by 100 times. And it's definitely like it was night and day, but that first one was definitely a case of like we've just wrestled our best friends and we've just set the bar for Wrestle Carnival, and it was like one of our favorite matches, and it got put on the best of Wrestle Carnival matches DVD thing. If anyone still buys DVDs.
Occasionally, yeah. More as a memento to say, you know, here you go, I've got something physical I can hold. But I'm going to flash up this picture. And we spoke earlier about Super Strong Style this year, and of course, you and the boys were at Super Strong Style last year. And this picture here probably brings back a few memories as well. And it was CPF versus Ricky Shane Page, Maggot, Robbie X, and of course, Jack Evans. Now, I know from checking your socials and some of the boys' socials that it was a thrill to be in there with the likes of those four, but Jack Evans in particular, I think, especially with his style, bit of a hero of yours. But to be in there with those guys and Jack Evans, what was that like?
I hit the best Phoenix splash I've ever hit on the man, the myth, the legend, Jack Evans from the heavens. It's insane because, like, I remember just kind of being backstage with him, and I was like, I've watched this guy for years. Like, I watched him on Lucha Underground and like wrestling like Aerostar and like Johnny Progress and like Drago and like all them guys and Helico and like PWG and all that stuff, and like I'm stood across from him, like getting ready for this match. And then I think the Phoenix Splash, as soon as I hit it, and then I heard like the three, I was kind of looked down. I was like, this is insane. Like this, like, I don't know how I've ended up here, but I have, and this is insane. And then we got back, and then kind of was like, I have to get a photo. Like, I just have to. If I don't get it now, then I'll never get one.
Oh, unbelievable. But I thought you'd appreciate me bringing up that match because, like I say, the fans in the ballroom absolutely loved it. And I know that you guys did as well. But such a fantastic, like I say, I don't think Jack Evans has been over to the UK since. I don't know if he suffered an injury soon after, but like I say, that was a thrill to watch him in the ballroom for sure, and one of your heroes. And another kind of highlight, more recent highlight, is performing for 1PW. Now, obviously, they came back last October in the Doncaster Dome. You've had 3 shows since. You've been a part of every single show, I believe, in multi-man matches. But getting the chance to perform for another leading promotion on top of Progress and Rev Pro, now 1PW, that's pretty cool. And like I say, getting to perform in front of, was it 2,000 fans last year in the Doncaster Dome? That must have been pretty crazy.
Yeah, something like that, I think. Because it was their first show, and I think they completely sold it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. I think I don't know if it's it's definitely up there, like the most amount of people I've wrestled in front of, but that was insane because it was a scramble match. I think it was me, Doris, Scotty Rourke, Luke Jacobs, and Amir Jordan, and that was really cool. I think we're all like friends, and I think it's cooler for me looking around, being like, these are my friends, and we're wrestling for like these huge promotions in front of loads of people. That's the cool stuff to me. Like, it is just insane. And I've been on every show since, and I hope to keep it up, hopefully.
Oh, absolutely. You're doing a phenomenal job. And a question that came through before we went live. Now, this was sent to me today via Instagram from Rev Pro Enthusiast. If Callum could wrestle anyone, past or present, who would he choose and what would be the event and venue? He says he always loves your work in Rev Pro. So do you have any kind of dream matches, past or present? And have you ever considered, what venue or what type of match you'd like with them? Great question, but a tough question as well.
Yeah, I've never really thought about it. Past, let's say past or present.
Yeah.
This is. I think Liger at York Hall.
Wow,
that could be cool. That's definitely up there. I think for present, Paul Robinson at the Ballroom.
Yeah, that would be good.
That's I love Paul to death. He's helped me out so much ever since I was a kid as well. Like, there's been times where I haven't been paid by a promotion, and then he'd be working for him at the weekend, like the week of, the next week, and I'd be like, oh yeah, they haven't paid me. He'd be like, well, I'll sort that out then, and I'll get paid instantly. And Paul's like a Will as well. Just he's given me so much advice through the years. He's helped me out with everything. Where I've been stuck at shows, he's drove me home. He's honestly, I love it to bits. And I think me and Robbo at the Ballroom for the Proteus title as well. I'll chuck that in there. For the Proteus title. That's up there. That's definitely
there. We
up
go.
There.
I think you've answered Rev Pro enthusiasts' question there, but obviously with the breaking news last week that Will Ospreay is back in the Progress ring, so is Robbo. So we look forward to seeing him possibly as soon as Super Strong Style. You never know. Let's have a quick look through some of these many questions that have come through. Let's have a quick look, see if there's any that I haven't read out yet. How about this? Perfect question from a friend of the show and big fan of yours. But to Ashley Clements, do you think we'll get CPF versus the Swords of Essex soon in Progress? Well, we couldn't have timed it any better there. Ashley sent that through a little while ago. But like I say, I think that could be another dream match, another dream scenario for you guys.
I hope so, because I don't think it will happen soon, just with Will being in Strong Style. Because they announced that he's an entrant, so because he's the best wrestler in the world, so I can't imagine him
first round. Put it that way.
Yeah, he won't. It's not like he's not gonna, he's gonna beat everyone there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. I hope it's gonna happen, but it is just a case of it's as a when, and I think I've got to talk to management as well, and I'm look, come on. We are doing what Paul and Will was doing years ago for the Ballroom and Progress. That's CPF now, and while they've been away, we've been one of the few to bring the tag division. We've had a bit more I guess like Sunshine Machine. We've had a few more fireworks to the division.
Absolutely.
So I reckon if they still got some fireworks in the bag, then we'll see what magic we can create. But as of right now, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Well, I'll let you into a secret. I think Progress, I think they watched this. So now we've put it out into the universe, Callum. It's going to happen. Don't worry. It's going to happen for sure. Let's have a look. Hell yeah. So before we put a bow on this interview with Callum Newman, I have to remind my viewers out there who my next interviewee is. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, it's going to be none other than Nina Samuels for episode 300. Whoop, whoop. So a milestone episode of Wrestling with Johners, nearly 5 years in the making, but we got to episode 300, and the host of the Nina Samuels show, current Riot Cabaret Women's Champion, Nina Samuels herself, will be on the Wrestling with Johners podcast. But Callum, it's been awesome speaking to you. We're not quite done yet. Now, I think I've got one or two more questions to go, but we spoke about Germany at the top of the podcast. And I've checked back through your records, and you may have wrestled in one or two other countries in Europe. But do you have any ambitions or any countries or any promotions outside of the UK that you'd like to perform for in the future? Of course, Joe Lando, good friend of yours, was over in the States last year, wrestled for GCW against Nick Wayne. Do you have similar ambitions, similar desires to get on a plane and wrestle elsewhere?
Yeah, definitely. GCW's up there, like 100%. Like, I feel like my style would fit very well, like for their crowd and that show. Like the big dream is Best of the Super Juniors. That's what I want. Like real bad. But I think GCW's up there. Deadlock's up there. I don't know. But they're the main three that come to mind. But
yeah.
Yeah,
and the really
real
cool,
big goal.
The cool thing is that you're branching out all over the place anyway. You're kind of, like say, OTT and over in Germany, all across the UK. So you are spreading your wings, and it's only going to get further afield every single time you make a new debut. But wish you nothing but the best. So for any of my viewers or listeners out there, Callum, that want to get in touch, want to learn a bit more about the Prince of Pace, want to reach out and say hi, maybe buy some merch or see some of your footage, where on social media can they do so, my friend? And if it helps, I do have your socials for Twitter and Instagram scrolling along the bottom. But
there we go.
I thought I had, but tell us where we can reach out to, my friend.
It'd be Instagram is Prince of Pace CN, and then it's the same for Twitter. YouTube, some of the matches get posted on there quite a lot. TikTok, I will very rarely post on there, but when I do, it's usually something cool. But yeah, that's it. Merch, I only sell at shows. I don't really post anything unless I'm on like the last few shirts. But there is a new drop coming soon. There's a new merch drop soon.
Is it this design here?
That's the current one. That's the current one. Yeah.
It looks pretty good. Oh,
cool.
Look at that man! Look at the shirt.
He's wearing it.
Absolutely. But like I say, get your hand on that, or possibly a new design that might be out soon. But if I were to ask you for a final message from Callum Newman for your friends, your family, your supporters out there, if you've got a message, any parting words from Callum Newman to close out Wrestling with Johners, what would they be?
Bloody hell. If Joe, if you're watching this, I can't stand you. Thanks, Mum and Dad, for letting me train with Will. I'm the fastest professional wrestler in the world. No one can keep up with me. And 2023 Callum Newman is just insane. That's about it.
It certainly is. But Callum Newman, thanks for being an awesome guest, and we'll see you at Strong Style.
Hell yeah. Take
care, buddy.